Blech. So I have arrived at the Mahoning Drive-In, and all the festivities are in full swing right now. They're waiting for the sun to dip so that the movie can begin. And I know this because when we do movies for the neighborhood, my neighbor has a projector screen and I have a projector, and we sort of haphazardly do a makeshift sort of drive-in movie scenario. We have to wait for it to get dark. So that's what everybody's doing right now. Everybody's chit-chatting. Everybody's meeting Vernon Wells. I got to meet Vernon Wells. It was so exciting. Vernon Wells is a legend. Commando, Inner Space, Weird Science, The Road Warrior. What a body of work. He was just in this film Red Snow, and I was actually talking to him about it. Faye, who helps organize the event along with her husband, Jim, introduced me. It was thrilling. And yes, I was kind of tongue-tied, the same way that I felt when I met Jeffrey Combs at the Sleepy Hollow International Film Festival. You don't think of these people as just normal, regular people. They are the living embodiment of characters that you grow up watching on your TV from a young age all the way until an adult. For some reason, no matter what kind of profile that actor might have, they loom larger than even the largest high-profile actors out there. That's my opinion. I've talked about this before on the channel, but the Mad Max films for me are like my Star Wars. Mad Max is the reason why I wear a leather jacket, not because of the Ramones. And it was funny, when I first met Tank, Jim, we bonded over our mutual fandom of the Misfits. But little did I know that Jim was also a ginormous Mad Max fan. He has an incredible collection of Mad Max memorabilia, as you will see over this B-roll. Not only does Jim love to cosplay, but he is meticulous in his research as he puts together props and costumes.
Let's, well, we're on uneven ground, so let's bring it down a little bit on your side. It just looks funny. A little bit more. That's probably good enough. I think what's happening.
When movies started to come out on Blu-ray, that's when Jim really went to town, because he was finally able to get high-definition screen grabs of everything. Jim is a journeyman. He's always on a quest. It's always about a quest. That's why he loved the Misfits so much, and that's why he loved collecting Misfits vinyl, which was really, really hard to acquire. That same sort of enthusiasm he also applied to Mad Max and his Mad Max collection. And, you know, what's great about these events is you just meet lots of like-minded people that are into something as much as you're into something. And while it's nice to go with people that maybe you know, or meet someone who you might know at the event, it's also just as beneficial just to go by yourself. Go by yourself to things. You will never know who you will meet or who you will open yourself up to if you just roll somewhere solo. I have made lifelong friends by going to shows alone. I go to movies alone all the time. You can look at it as sort of like a solitude thing, or you can look at it as a social thing, an extrovert thing. I don't need to go with other people because I know that wherever I'm going to go, I am just such a friendly guy. I'm going to meet people and I'm going to talk to people and say hello and blah, 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 blah. So the reason why I'm here is because Faye and Jim asked me to do the Q&As for tonight. Vernon Wells is going to be doing Q&As, and I'm going to be asking him the questions. Not going to lie, I'm a little nervous. I've never done anything like this on such a large scale. I do love to interview people. And hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, here is a recording of said Q&A.
I'm Jack. Long live the apocalypse. I'm the deadliest guy around here. So, that's just how it goes. And these are my dogs of war.
Thank you to everybody for joining us tonight for the first evening of It's a Mad Max 2, plus or minus one mad. I'm not sure how many there were there. We'll get started in just a moment, but before that, we have a special word from the toe cutter.
Must have cut his heart out, huh? That is his name. Night Rider. The Night Rider. Remember him when you look at the night sky. I will. Take your hat off. Anything you say. Anything I say. What a wonderful philosophy. Take him away. Papa. Johnny. Oh, yes, that's who. Push me, shove you. Oh, yes, that's who. Push me, shove you. Push me, shove you. Push me, shove you. Hey, gonna get you. Okay. It's all right. No one's gonna hurt you. It's all right, it's all right. This one's whacked out of his skull. Whacked right out of his skull, man! He ain't never coming back.
Got in somebody. Oh, God. Oh, here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Want me to say a little intro or something?
Yeah. My mother told me they'd be nights like this.
Nobody said he was this funny, too.
Oh, what? Now you take my mother. Oh, what? He's cut off. I got one, too.
Hello, Mahoning Drive-In. You guys having a good night? Very nice. Thank you guys for sticking it out.
Where are we? Oh, we're right
Braving
there.
that rain. And I hope you guys are coming back tomorrow, even though it's going to be a heat wave. It's going to be awesome. It's gonna be
Who is that
perfect.
ugly
It's
shit
gonna be
with
great.
his?
Thank you
Oh,
for
that's you.
coming to
Oh.
Mad Max weekend too. And thank you for coming and seeing Vernon Wells. Vernon, thank you for being here.
My pleasure, I guess.
It's a pleasure.
I'm here because I had nothing else better to do.
Rude. That's rude.
Oh, it's rude? Oh, I'm being rude. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. Yeah.
All right,
No,
so-
I'm here because I love Jim Thorpe. Damn you.
This is going off the rails. Okay. So I would just like to introduce, we all know Vernon Wells. I would like to introduce my good friend Jeff Frumess, who came here from New York to do the Q&A with us. And thank you to everybody who dropped a little question in the
Good for you,
Q&A
dude.
box.
Good for you.
If you're coming tomorrow and you weren't aware of that, we do have a little Q&A box right next to Vernon's table, next to Jim K. Dorsey's top-notch Mad Max collection.
It's top notch indeed.
Top notch. So with that, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to give the microphone back to Vernon, which I'm going to regret. Thank you.
Yeah, very much. I love you, sweetheart. Love you. Love you.
What happened?
I don't
Can
know.
you talk like that the whole time? Here, switch with me. You take this one. I'll take that one. I'll take the.
That was very short.
I've had so many guys say that to me in bed.
I'll switch with you. You take this one. What the fuck, why not? Oh, listen to him. Oh, like I never thought of that. Come on. Hi, my name. What's your name again?
I'm Jeff.
Oh, hi, I'm Jeff. And this is.
Wait, I
Vernon
thought I
Wells.
was Jeff. Is this
Oh.
who's on first? Who's on first? Are you?
No.
Who's
I'm
on first?
usually sloppy seconds. I told you this conversation will go to pure out of control in 45 seconds. No, truly, I'm happy to be here. This is amazing. I have no idea where I am. But wherever I am,
you're
it's
in
great.
Mahoning, PA.
Who?
Mahoning, PA. Am I pronouncing that right?
Mahoney.
PA. Perfect. No.
Exactly. Let me ask you something. How did you fall into acting? How did that
Same way I
happen?
fell into everything. I tripped. Dumb question, how did I fall into acting? Actually, I didn't fall into acting. I never wanted to be an actor, and I was very successful at it. I'm kidding. No, I didn't want to be an actor. It was the furthest thing from my mind. In fact, I hated it. I hated being in front of a camera. I was more comfortable behind the camera doing directing and stuff, and that's what I really wanted to do. But I got asked to do a stage play that was written by a Canadian, Michel Tremblay, which was about...
Sorry.
Okay.
Someone's a
Now
big
you've heard
fan.
me. No, Michel Tremblay, and it was about Montreal wanting to become a free, French-speaking, autonomous state inside of Canada, and the Canadian government said, if you can't see that, that's what they said. So he wrote a screenplay about, and it was called Hosanna. It was about a transvestite and her boyfriend, and one night in their lives where they had this huge problem they had to fix, and she played the virtually all the people in Montreal that wanted to become autonomous, and I played the French government saying, stick it. And I didn't want to do it because I was a boy from the bush. You know, I grew up wrestling cows, chasing lambs, riding horses, plowing fields, all that bullshit. And the furthest thing from my mind was playing some gay shit. And I refused because I was just a dumb shit. So I wouldn't do it. And it went on and on and on. And eventually, I went home to my brother. Any of you that have a brother will know that when you have a problem, the one person you can rely on is your brother.
It's very
you
true.
can tell him and he will give you the honest to God truth. I told my brother what the problem was, and he looked at me and he said, stop being such a little gay shit and do it. And I went, okay. So I did. I did this play. Now, how I got into acting, this is a long story, but we get there. How I got into acting was that the opening scene of Hosanna, I come on stage dressed in leathers, and the audience is 3 feet in front of the stage, maybe. And in about a minute and a half, I am totally naked masturbating to the front row.
Typical.
George Miller's girlfriend, Sandy Gore, happened to see me masturbating and rang George and said, you got to come and see this guy. I'm not sure why, but you got to come and see him. And George Miller came down to see me, and we actually went out and had a cup of coffee and talked dumb shit to each other for like an hour. I had no idea who he was, no idea why he was talking to me, and he went back to Sydney. And my agent rang me and said, so how did your coffee go with George Miller? I said, who's a George Miller? And they said, he's the guy that did, you know, the original Mad Max. And I went, oh. And she said, he's doing another one called Road Warrior. Well, actually, it was called Mad Max 2. And I said, oh. And she said, have you ever seen Mad Max? And I went, no. And she went, oh, shit. Said, look, it's playing at the drive-in, go see it. So I go to the drive-in, and guess what? They're playing Mad Max and Duel, Steven Spielberg's first movie. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So the next morning she rings me, she says, so did you see it? And I said, yeah. She said, what did you think? I said, Duel was unfucking believable. And she went, not quite the answer I was looking for, but don't say that to George. And I really didn't want to do Road Warrior because I was terrified of it. And the only reason I got it was for some reason George had set his mind on me doing it. And every time I said I don't want to do this, he would just look at me and go, uh-huh. Turn around, let me see the costume. And I'd say, George, I don't want to do it. Uh-huh. I think we're going to have to cover your ass. George, I seriously don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe we should put some red or something in your hair. So in the finish, I just gave up and said, I'll do your epic movie for you. And that was how it all came about. I went and did Road Warrior. First thing I ever did in my life. I'd done a couple of television things where I was like an extra riding horses or driving trucks or driving cars or doing some other shit, but never an actor to that degree. So it was me. And it was funny because whenever I was asked if George was around, I would always say that George Miller created my career. And he would say, actually, I gave him 21 lines and he created a friggin' movie. It was, I don't know. People ask me, and I seriously have no clue. I did what came naturally to me as a human being in that situation, and it seemed to be what it was supposed to be. And for the last few years, and 367 movies later, still what I do.
Wow.
I just enjoy myself. And, you know, Mad Max is why I'm here. Mad Max is one of the favorite movies. Before you ask me, Mad Max is one of my favorite movies, all right?
What was it like working with George? And what particularly, did George give you any kind of like homework about your character? Like, how did you, backstory wise, in terms of
No. Moving on. Just kidding. Actually, what George made us do for a week was we had to write a story from birth to when the film started. And every morning we would have to go in, and also, the only one that didn't have to do it was Mel, because he'd already done one movie, so his character was pretty much the way it should be. But we would go in and we would read this story to George Miller, Terry Hayes, and Brian Hanna. They were the three writers of Road Warrior. And they would sit there and they'd go, that's a lot of crap, throw that out. Oh yeah, that looks good, that's bullshit, throw that out. And you would go, and they'd go, now rewrite it. So every night for a week, we would rewrite, go in, crap, throw it out. And it just went on until the end of the week, we had a solid basis of who the character was, where he came from, why he was there. And I always remember, I said to George one day on the set, I was getting confused with something I was doing. And I said, George, I'm lost. And he said, again? Yes, I'm always lost. But I don't know what to do. And he said, all right, let me ask you a question. I said, okay. He said, you live in a suburban house. At the end of that street where you live is this huge, big, like grocery store, one of these monster ones with all kinds of shit in it. I go, uh-huh. And he says, there's an apocalyptic event. Now, it doesn't have to be a war, it could be a sunspot, it could be anything. But what happens is everything as we know it stops. What are you going to do? I went, I'd probably go down to the shop and get as much food as I could because I would need it to survive. He said, uh-huh. And would you take some of your friends? I said, oh yeah, I'd take some of my neighbors down and we'd get it. He said, okay, so you're down there getting all this food and you look out the window and all these people from 3 streets over are coming towards you. What are you going to do? I said, shoot their asses. And he went, yeah, good, Wes. That was all he said to me, and that was what the character was based on, exactly that conversation. Because it was just who Wes was. And that's how I went and did it. No more, no less.
What about the name Wes? What is Wes?
Wesley.
Oh,
Ignatius.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Xavier. Or Dickhead.
Was there a lot of was the idea, the energy of punk rock, did you feel a lot of that on the set?
No.
Was that ever talked about? No?
Nope. What I felt a lot of energy of was freezing cold on my ass.
Mel Gibson had a nickname.
Yeah, Mel Gibson had a nickname.
What was that nickname? What's that nickname?
Barometer bum.
Wow. Wow.
Every time my ass got purple, Mel would go, I think we should get him warm. And I'd put it in it so I could get warm. I was barometer bum. I was, motherfucker. It was freezing. People say, yeah, but the sky was blue. Don't give a shit. It was freezing. We're in a valley between 2 mountains that happened to have snow on them. It were cold. But yeah, that was me.
Wow. What about like the shooting mechanics of the Road Warrior? There's a lot of, it seems like some stuff gets sped up. What was it like, when you're shooting the end, the chase
The race.
scenes? Yeah, the race.
Yeah, the chase. The one thing about George is he's incredibly careful. He doesn't want anybody to get hurt, and he's also a brilliant manipulator of what he does. So when you're watching it, he does things to it that you wouldn't expect. And one of his things was, he used to always say that movies are basically a roller coaster. You go very slowly up to the top of the hill in a roller coaster, then you roar down the other side, and at the bottom there's a brick wall. Now, the roller coaster turns to the right, but your brain goes slamming into the brick wall. And I have had discussions with people who will tell me, no, 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 those people got killed. And I'll go, no, they didn't. Yes, they did. No, they didn't. I saw it. And I'll go, haha. Did you do the movie as well? What the fuck? Because he's so good at manipulating what we look at and what we hear, the sound effects, the movie, everything. And he would sit for hours with a scene and take out, one frame at a time, or add one frame to get exactly what he wanted, the speed, or the way it would move, or the way it would jump, what would happen. And he was just amazing at it. And I mean, to me, Mad Max is one of the greatest edited films that there's been for a long, long time.
Hear, hear.
The way he did it. And actually, down in California at the university, in their classes on film, the sound and the editing of that film to do today are what they teach kids, is how to do it correctly. And I mean, that, 40 odd years later, that tells you how good it was.
Now, I learned this today. I did not know this. There was an original ending for your character. And you know what's interesting about Wes? Wes has pathos.
What?
Wes has pathos, as opposed to every other, sort of evil henchman type of guy. They're usually just, that's just the side henchman. But Wes has pathos. He loses his constituent,
Composure.
and friggin' wants revenge.
Totally.
And goes after Max. But there's a different ending. There was a different ending before
Yeah,
that.
originally, there was a different beginning and a different ending originally. And there is a book out called Mad Max, and it's the Road Warrior. It's the actual original script, which was a little different. In the original ending, Humongous is killed way, way earlier. And I don't go over the front of the truck. I end up on the Humongous vehicle, and I've got the feral kid upside down, strapped to the front of it to use as a battering ram. And I'm chasing Mel, and we get into this sort of thing, and the Trident, he throws at me, and I drive off down the road. And I get way down the road, and I spin it at 360, and I'm facing him, and the motor's running on the truck. And as they come in with the camera, you notice that there's a trident sticking through my forehead. And that's virtually where the film ended. And George didn't like it because he thought for my end it was not, the character had built up to this stage that there had to be a dramatic end. He had to go out in a blaze of glory. Like, 17 people with shotguns all blow me to pieces or something. He had to find, and that's what they did with me going over the front of the truck and then coming back up. And funny story about that, the little gum shot. Him and I started to become friends, and George said to me a couple of Vernon, do not become friends with him. And I had a problem with that and we became friends. We do that scene, and I come up over the front of the truck, and he laughs at me. Peekaboo! And George just looked at me and went, this is on you. And I went, oh, shit. So what they did was they put a sponge in my hand full of blood. And the next time we did the scene, when I came up and he came down with his hand, I went whap on his hand and his blood went everywhere. And the look on his face and the scream and the terror, the whole thing was him, like having a mental fit. He thought his hand had been ripped off.
Kinder trauma.
Yeah, and I just sort of looked at him and thought, you poor little shit. It's like, it's cruel what they do, but it worked. And I see him now and I remind him of it, and he just looks at me like, one day, motherfucker, one day. But he's a very famous jewelry designer now, so you know, what the hell? I'm just an actor, good damn it. And the start of it was a little different. The start of it wasn't where we start chasing Mel. The start of it was everybody going up the hill towards the farmhouse, and they're savaging the farmhouse, they're ripping things out of it, they're killing people, and I drive up after them, and this little kid with long blonde hair comes running out of the farmhouse, and one of the marauders grabs him by the hair and goes to cut his throat, and I stop him, and I pick him up, I put him on the back of my bike. And that was how the blonde youth came to be in the movie. Well, that didn't happen, so what we had was the start of the film and this blonde kid behind me and everybody going, So that's what they do in the outback when there's no women around.
Pathos.
And George said to me one day, because I sort of said to him, I said, you know how gay this is? And he went, you're asexual. I went, what, I fuck dogs? I mean, what are we getting at here, George? And he said, no, you're asexual. It's like, there's no male, no females. And I was like, oh God, now I'm in so much trouble. Somebody is going to come. And of course, Siskel and Ebert had to come up with it. This gay Australian, why are they putting him in movies? So yeah, I did another movie and they thought I was gay in that too, but we won't go into that.
You were in Weird Science and you kind of reprised the role of Wes a little bit. Could you explain the similarities between those two characters?
Good. Yeah, I got asked to do that by Joel Silver, the producer, and I told my manager to tell him to go suck eggs, basically, which he did. And he rang back a week later with a bigger offer, and she rang me, and I said, did you tell him? He said, I said, tell him again. This went on for like 3 or 4 weeks, and I just refused to do this film. I didn't give a shit about it. I haven't read it, I hadn't looked at it, didn't want to do it. And finally he rang her and she said, is he going to do it? And she said, I'm sorry, he's not. He said, well, we don't want him anyway, so he just hung up the phone. And about a month later he rang back with his big offer, and she said to me, you're getting on an airplane, you're going to America to do it. And I went, why? He said, because there's a lot of money and I'll break both your legs if you don't. So I decided I should go to America and do the film. And I wanted to work with John Hughes.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and I was so glad I did, because he died not long after I did that film, like a year later or 2 years later. And it was, and if you look at that, if you've seen that film, there's so many major stars came out of that film. Robert Downey Jr., for instance, was just a co-star of it. And not even that, he was just an actor in it. And there were just so many people that came out of that that went on to be bigger stars. And the whole crew, the whole cast except for Robert, we get together occasionally at conventions, and I was with them a month and a half ago, and we were just talking like this, add up, question, answer, and they were all laughing. And I said, what's funny? And they went, for 3 weeks, Joel Silver would walk into because they were shooting at the time, would walk in into the thing where we were shooting and rant and rave about this effing Australian. Who the hell did he think he was? He'd done one effing movie, and what gave him the right to be continuously, because I would keep saying no to him, and apparently he couldn't handle being told no. And they just laughed. They thought it was the funniest thing, and then I turned up. So they went, oh, he's the one. There you go. But I enjoyed it. Not so much that I was reprising the role. I didn't really want to play Wes again, so they did a lot of things to me so that I didn't really look like Wes. Yeah. Really worked. Nobody knew I was Wes.
We have 3 questions. People wrote in questions, and I have them right here. I'm going to ask them in succession.
I have 3 answers.
Okay,
Who
good.
gives a shit?
Good.
No?
No, that's not the answer. That's not the proper answer.
Oh, God.
Okay, this is kind of like a game show. We're going to turn this into a game show.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask you 3 questions all at the
Okay.
same time, because we don't have less than 10 minutes, so.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Right.
This is the first one.
Yes.
You've had a fantastic career.
Yes.
With some incredible movies.
Yes.
But if you could erase one thing from your filmography, what would it be? And you have 5 seconds to answer. Go!
Me. He's knocking him out.
All right, that was one question. That was an answer. That was an answer. Okay, second question. We're in the sudden death round. What do you think of the newest Mad Max movie with Charlize Theron?
So what's the next question?
Ooh. Just gonna push that off the
Oh,
table.
come on.
Twisted my arm here. Okay, last question. This is for all the marbles. This is for all the gasoline. Okay? What's your favorite movie you were in? Wait, this is from Evan Phoenix. Hi, Evan.
Hi, Evan.
Hi. Hi, Evan.
Huh?
That's the final.
Oh.
What's your favorite movie that you were
What's
in?
my favorite movie that I've been in? If I want to be honest, everyone that's paid me. Truly, I get a big kick out of doing little films. More so than doing these $100 million blockbusters. I enjoy, don't get me wrong, I enjoy them, I get paid a lot of money. But the little films are much more, it's like a family. You know, you get to do things that you can't do on a big film. So I think little films, there's been a few of those I've done that I love, and he's wrapping me up and I'm going, fuck you. I just love the little films, and I've done a couple that are coming out actually at the moment. One called Fear of the Woods, you can find it online. Another one's called Kill Giggles.
Wait, you were in Kill Giggles?
Yeah.
Wait, Jason directed that movie.
So what do you want, a medal?
No, it's just I know that guy. He's great. He's a great guy.
Did
Did you have fun in that movie? Did you play a clown? What? I haven't seen it yet. I don't know anything about it. Sorry, continue. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm listening.
What? Oh, you finished?
Yes.
No, I'm sorry. I had relations with some other asshole. This is my time. Damn you. Yeah, so little films, I really do get a kick out of them. I've got a few coming out, which somebody said to me the other day, you've got 32 coming out, all right? I don't know. I don't keep going on my friggin' page to find out how many movies I've got coming out. But I got quite a few. And you know, if you want to see what I do, go have a look, because they're all diversified. I get a lot more roles of playing the good guy than I do the bad guy now. I love it. It's really exciting and nice, and I get to direct, because that's my passion, is directing. So I get to play God, like, hey, asshole, when I say on that friggin' line, I mean on the line. Nobody takes any notice of me. They all look at me and go, uh-huh. Motherfucker. It always comes back, that's what I'm like, damn it. Why do I have to be such an ass? But no, I just love what I do. Everything that I've had, I am so grateful for. Do not get me wrong. It blows my mind that I'm who I am and what I've done. A little kid from the bush that gets to this. I love it. I thank everybody. I'm a Buddhist, and what I say when I finish any talk, and I've been told to shut the fuck up and get off, is that may every blessing that you want, that you wish for, and that you have, be what you want and wish for. May your life be filled with pleasure. May you always be kind and generous, and may everybody be kind and generous to you. And may you think of one thing. I am so lucky that every morning I wake up and I'm here with someone I love. God bless you all. Thank you.
Big round of applause for Vernon Wells. Excellent.
What?
You did great.
Oh.
It was good. We'll be back tomorrow night for another game show. I hope we have more questions. Okay? For tomorrow night, write in your questions, everybody.
Can everybody write questions and don't start with what was your best film?
Sorry, Evan. Poor Evan.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I'll probably stay for the opening of Road Warriors and I'll get.
No, come on.
No, I'm joking. I love it. It's my favorite movie. Yeah.
Woo! Woo! Evan!
Thank you. Thank you.
We love you, Vernon!
Pay for Evan's therapy.
Is that a promise?